Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I got some time to kill. I just called Studio Lodge. Nothing is available as of yet, but they're going to open some up after like 11 o'clock, so it's going to be a wait around kind of day for me. No big deal. I'm happy with that. I'll just wait here until about checkout time and then go there. Then, so it's like 9:30, so I got a little time to talk, and I figured I'd just give you guys a video. So, Lakers. I made some mistakes in my video. First of all, I want people to know 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So there's no extra 30-minute difference there. I think most people know that, but I did misspeak and say 7 o'clock Pacific, 10:30 Eastern for the Laker game tonight. So yeah, that is not true. The game's at 7. The game's at 10 for these guys. So I made the video. There's an urgency about me and a nervousness about me that I didn't have in Game 4. I think I was settled into the idea we were getting swept and my season was over with, and now it was a lot of, if we get swept, Darvin gets fired, so it should be fine type of energy. But once we win Game 5, I'm not so sure that Darvin gets fired. I mean, I'm like 80% sure, but not 100% sure he gets fired, so that's not like a caveat for losing tonight, if that makes any sense. And yes, I am on board with the let go of Darvin Ham. I just did not like how the regular season went this year. I didn't like how stubborn he was about doing certain things that I felt were just obvious. I didn't like how confused he was with how to use our unit when we had those injuries that we had all season long. I just didn't like how we ended up giving up so many games on his watch. As most Laker fans are frustrated about how some of those things planned out. We all want Darvin, gone. All is a strong word, but a good portion of us, very good portion, would be pleased with a change in the coaching situation. We were done with the unit, all this. You guys, if you listen to my Game 3 reaction, I was done with everybody, man. I was done with everybody. There was a few people I bring back, but my frustration knew no end. But when you win Game 4 and force a Game 5, then it's like, all right, well, I've tasted victory. I saw the team fight, and I think that's what I needed to see. It's just how much it mattered to them in Game 4. And once I realized how much they wanted to continue to play, that kind of debunked the fullness of my frustration theory, I guess, is if I'm making any sense. Once I saw them care, that kind of took away from some of what I thought of them negatively. It's like, oh, they do care. They haven't checked out. They're not so weak of the mind against the Nuggets that they won't try against the Nuggets in Game 4. Once I saw that, then it was like, all right, well, maybe they can find a way to overcome themselves. Maybe they can find a way to get past this demon they have of not only beating the Denver Nuggets once, but finding a way to really overcome this. You lost to the same team 11 times in a row and had leads in all of those games. That's a real psychological issue, and for somebody like myself, I really want to see them overcome that. I really want to see them be better than I thought they were. You know what I mean? When you want to believe in somebody, but they haven't given you a whole lot of reasons to. It's been such a horrible season. You fully expect for the season to end on a low note. You fully expect to have a long off season where changes could be coming that maybe aren't very favorable to your franchise. If Bron decides to leave, if whatever. I just would love for this season to end on a proud note. Maybe we don't win the series, but I definitely want to extend it for the pride of the legacy of the men. They have lost 11 straight to the Nuggets. They have lost a bunch of games straight to the Sacramento Kings. They have also beaten the Bucks without Bron and AD, beat the Celtics without Bron and AD, won the in-season tournament for which the rest of the teams competed for and all lost. We won that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if we suck so damn bad, none of that's actually possible. None of that happens. We beat the Clippers this year and snapped that streak. So it's like, at some point in time, you got to weigh the bad against the good and realize this team has done some things that you really wanted to see them do. And maybe they could do it again in this series and maybe set some more history, man. And I do want to see a team come back from a 3-0 deficit at some point in time in my lifetime. Not to say that I think this team is going to be the one to do it. No team has ever done it. But if any, as I said maybe 4 or 5 times, if any teams feels confident that they should be able to do it. It should be a team that's had big leads in each of the games they've lost, because it showed them that they could have won all of those games. So if you could have won all of those games, then it's not completely asinine for you to have leads and maybe overcome that issue and then win all of the games ahead. You see what I'm saying? Because what essentially has to happen in that situation is you have to go on a 3-game losing streak and then go on a 4-game winning streak against the same team that you had that 3-game losing streak against. You know what I mean? So, like, if any team should feel confident they can have the possibility of doing something like that, it should be a team that has had massive leads in all of those games they lost. So that's what I think is required to believe in a team's capability of coming back from 0-3. Well, we've done that. Game 1, we had a 10-point lead. Game 2, we had a 20-point lead. Game 3, we had a 12 or 13-point lead. In Game 4, we had a 12-point lead that we didn't lose. We didn't give it back finally. We could have won all those games. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if anybody should believe they can go on a 4-game winning streak against a team that beat them all 3 times, it's us. It's us. Because you can't find footage of a game the Lakers played this Nuggets team and didn't have a lead in. Not to mention that we've beaten this core in the Western Conference Finals back in the bubble. Same core. Different role players. Same core, man. So it's like, same coach as well. So it's like, I think this lines up for us to believe in ourselves. Not to say that we're going to do this, because no one's ever done this. But this lines up for us to if we can overcome the weaknesses that we have, we should feel confident that we can do at least win a game. Again, another game. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff has to fall in your favor. Obviously, the Denver Nuggets are not to be toyed with. This is not a regular team. They're the defending NBA championship, and they're going to have something to say about it. You could very well play your best game. They play their best game. They win. But they haven't played well. They ain't played their best game in a while. I don't think we've seen the best of the Denver Nuggets in weeks. Not just against us. I mean, they lost to Wemby before the end of the season. They've been showing signs that they're not as good as they were last season. So that's even more evidence for me as a Laker fan to think, oh, they're beatable. They're beatable. Our team had issues believing they could beat them, and rightfully so. But I think that played into why we were making certain mistakes, carrying ourselves certain ways throughout the course of the first 3 games. Now that we've seen ourselves beat this team, we still have a lot to overcome, because 11 wasn't a fluke. 11 losses in a row to the same team is not a fluke, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, this is the start of something else. We have now shown ourselves to have been a team that can learn from its mistakes, who can hold a lead against this team, and now it's just about us doing that again. Just like having a lead, having a 20-point lead and blowing it, you got to get to a point where you realize you can do things that work against a team in order to even gain a lead like that. On their home floor, we had a 20-point lead, you guys, so we could do it in altitude. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a lot of things that point itself into the direction of you saying, yo, I believe in my team. I know we can beat this team. I know we can dominate this team. I have evidence in every game that we can dominate this team. The question is, can we keep our mental focus and keep our physical energy high enough to keep them from covering what otherwise we establish? When they get a chance to come back and go on roaring runs and we don't respond, or we don't stop the bleeding with timeouts and put size on the floor that counteracts the adjustments that they make or what have you, that's when they have the confidence to say, we can beat this team again after they beat us. There's plenty of confidence on their side, and they should certainly feel like they should close this thing out tonight. But you know, their opponent, if they're looking at this correctly, if we're looking at this correctly, has all the evidence in the world of us being able to win tonight's game. And that's really all we are required to do. We're not required to win 3 straight. Not as it pertains to what we're looking at. We're required to keep ourselves alive from game to game to game. You win tonight's game, and then you focus on needing to win the next game. And that urgency and that desperation, you don't have to try to find it somewhere. You already have it. So long as you want to continue to play ball, that is your psychological edge. Now, once you decide to end your season and you feel like, what's the use? You lose that edge of what desperation provides as a cushion of energy and motivation. And that's why it's important that the team continue to want to play. You got to want it. Because as long as you want it, you have that desperation that propel you above their urgency. As long as you continue to want it. So that's where it comes down to. D'Lo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. How bad do you want it? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Taurean Prince. How bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, your desperate circumstance will keep you in a space where you are doing the extras, doing the little things. But your focus, you got to know what it takes to get to point B. Being stupid and taking chances ain't going to get you there. Yelling at the referees and expecting their whistle to save you is not going to get you there. Falling all on the ground, hunting out fouls. That's not going to get you to point B. And we need to understand that. We have some habits as a team and as individual players where we're used to the referees getting us calls. A guy like LeBron James has been having his issues with referees and also having his the referee give him whistles favorably for 21 years. You're going to have to overcome that. You're going to have to overcome that if you want to win this series, because a lot of what requires your focus needs to be able to ignore the refs. You gotta get back on D. Your body may not react as well to altitude. You're gonna need to focus on getting back, because if you have that altitude pulling at your body and your focus is also pulled away from the defense, so that you're focusing on the referees, that's just double against you in regards to getting back quick enough. So these are the things. These are the things. How bad do you want it? And do you know how to get to point B? Is what I tell these Lakers. Is what I ask them. Do you know how to get what you want? Rebounding is going to be key. You got to overcome Gordon's rebounding. Jokic is going to rebound regardless. But Gordon, you could put a body on him and do something about all that. There's a big difference between him getting 16 rebounds and 7. He walks away with 7 rebounds. You probably out-rebounded their team. Getting in the paint. We had 72 points in the paint in the last game. You continue that, you're going to love yourself. You know, you continue to eat in the paint against them, you're doing great. They can eat in the paint against you, so you have to get the easy ones against them. Doubling it properly. What are you doing in the third quarter? Are you thinking about what's not working out, or are you doing what needs to be done in order for things to work out? Are you standing around watching LeBron James dribble and hoping to God things work out, or are you cutting hard, making your defense react so that they can't hone in on Bron or AD? Those are the difference. Third quarter effort, third quarter focus, third quarter desperation, third quarter energy. That's the demon that we have to overcome. That's the struggle for us from night to night against this basketball team. Whatever you're doing in the locker room when you come out, it's got to be the same energy coming out of there that went into it. When you come out of there lackluster, that's when Denver, in their mind, knows they should turn up the energy to match what it is that otherwise isn't your energy being strong enough. They can exceed you and move past you. They've been doing it for games and games and games, and they weren't able to do it in game 4. Can we keep that desire to win propelling us to doing these things when it matters? And it's just about Darvin Ham being his best, man. Players can do a bunch of great stuff, but if you put some bad lineups on the floor, and you know what those lineups are, your evidence is showing you what works and what doesn't. At this point, doing things that don't work is ennui and self-destructive, fam. It's not about, well, it's going to work this time. This is how you keep losing the same team over and over again, is being ornery about your choices. It was the same problem I had with some of the past coaches we had. They were ornery. They were going to live and die with what they wanted to do, not what the evidence told them they should do. It's the coaches that know how to adapt to what's happening to them that ultimately keep their jobs and keep their team alive. Not the coaches that want to live and die with stuff. You can live and die with stuff, but your responsibility is to keep us alive, not to die. You see what I'm saying? Your responsibility is to stay alive so that we can stay alive, not for you to live and die and go down with the ship. You're supposed to keep the ship afloat. Ship ain't supposed to be going down. You see what I'm saying? So a coach needs to understand that and have that mentality to where he makes the adjustments necessary to keep his job, keep his season alive, and keep his team alive. That's the pecking order, especially for a guy like Darvin Ham. So if something didn't work all season long, or if it's not working tonight, feel free to think about these words. Keep your job, keep your season alive, keep your team alive, man. Because at the end of the day, people want you out of here not because we don't like you as a person, Darvin. It's because you haven't done a good job in this area. You've been ornery, stubborn, and that stubbornness doesn't help us when it's not pointing in the right direction. When it's pointed in a direction that hurts the team and has us undersized against big guys, and you don't want to call timeouts because you respect flow of the game more so than you respect stopping the momentum, these are things that hurt us. That's a belief that needs to be thrown away. You've seen success when you call timeouts, stopping the bleeding. You've seen other teams have success when they call timeouts, stopping the bleeding. It may be an eyesore to you to not see flow of game, but when you allow flow of game, you got to understand that the other team is in the flow when they're beating your behind. It's not your team's momentum that you're hurting when you call a timeout. It's the other team's. I personally think Darvin just doesn't like seeing the game stop when it's played at a certain pace. Whether he's winning or losing, he believes he can react. His team can react so long as he doesn't get in the way. That is not the way to look at it. You want to stop their momentum. You want to disrupt their pace because when they're going on a run, they're moving. It's your team that's struggling to react to it. You need to stop it so that your team can do so. Gather themselves. Put some fresh legs on the floor. Don't worry about flow of game if it's the flow, if the current is coming against you. If the current is drowning your team, then the flow is not in your service. It's no different than what we say about time management down the stretch of basketball games. If you're not up, the clock is not your friend. You don't need to be rolling the ball slow if you're down by 5. It's only 2 minutes to go. Why the hell would you do that? You want the clock to continue to run so that you can extend your lifeline on the basketball floor. Now, if you're up by 30, yeah, you can waste clock. Yeah, you can slow the ball down. But when you're not, you need to make good, timely decisions. Not necessarily rush, because that can push you into mistakes. But you definitely don't want to slow the game down to a halt when the clock is not your friend. I feel like flow on the basketball court is the same thing in a different way. If the flow and the current is coming against you and they on a 15-7 run, it may not be an eyesore to you seeing people go back and forth. It may be an eyesore to stop that. But at the end of the day, if it's you that's getting pushed around by the beautiful basketball you're watching, then stopping that helps you. So that's what I think. I've just been giving some thought to that, and I think that's what it may be. Darvin just doesn't like the idea of stopping the flow of basketball. Even if it's a run the other team is pushing him around with, he feels like it's in his best interest to stay out the way and let the flow continue to go. But it never works. His team is always getting pushed around by it because adjustments need to be made to stop what they're doing schematically. Flow is one thing. You not having the personnel on the floor to stop an advantage that the other team figured out is an entirely different thing. So while you sitting up there saying, yeah, the game is flowing, look at them move, they're going back and forth, your team is got no size on the floor, so they keep rebounding over you. They keep scoring on you. You're not defending properly, so they're shooting the ball left and right. It's like what are we here to do? Watch a beautiful basketball flow back and forth, beating our behind? Or are we here to get our team in the flow so that the basketball that we're seeing, that we're enjoying so much, is basketball that we're benefiting from? And it's the coach's job to initiate that, not sit back and stay out the way and let a team go on a 22-6 run, erasing a 15-point lead. That can't happen. And it has been happening. And we have enough evidence and film to show us where it has hurt us. So I'm looking for Darvin Ham to cut that out. Never, ever do that again. Call your timeouts. Don't be afraid of running out of them. And I'm looking at the assistant coaches. Hey, listen, I understand that challenges have to do with y'all looking at your iPads at the previous play. Y'all gotta be sharp tonight, man. Because Darvin's looking at y'all to tell him if it makes sense to do that. If y'all not sharp enough in the moment to tell him to do it or not to do it, you have moments like what LeBron James was frustrated with. And you saw what that cost us. You got to know your personnel. If you're not going to do what Ron wants you to do in that situation, he going to jump up and down. The referees probably should have slowed the game down. Usually they don't inbound that fast. But in this case, they inbounded the ball fast. Lay up Denver. Can't let that happen anymore. Ron needs to reel it in. But the referees need to not inbound the ball so soon in situations. I don't think that's probably the best way for that game to go right there. They don't usually do that. A lot of times our players be calling for the ball for them to inbound it, and they don't necessarily give us the ball to inbound right away. For whatever the science is behind that, they betrayed it in that last play that we're referring to. So that's on them. And then it's on those assistant coaches. Sharp enough, get Darvin that information immediately. So when he looks at you, you already tell him no or yes on a review. And then he can handle his business. That's not, after watching this for 82 games plus, I know that's not a Darvin thing anymore. He's looking at them. They got to get that right. So that's something that needs to be said, man. That was a whole lot of bad. And at the end of the day, the ball should have been going back in our direction because it was, in fact, off of whoever the hell that was, not Braun. And we missed that play because we were not in conjunction with one another. And that could have cost us worse than it ultimately did. So these are things I've been thinking about, man. Give us some thought to this. It's game 5. You're down 1-3, I guess is what you say. You're down 1-3. It's win or go home. It's win or go home. So if we're gonna do things correctly, we may be able to benefit from it and beat this team. If we do things incorrectly, we may be in Cancun in a few days. And I don't think anybody in Laker Nation is going to benefit from our players being in Cancun. None of us get to go on vacation. Not like that. So keep our season alive, fellas. That's really what I have to say. I don't know how many people on this unit is going to be on this team next year. If we go out in 5, especially if we get blown out, lackluster, shoulders slumping, looking around biting our nails and score down by 1 million and we ain't fighting. I think fight is your best bet. I think if you're down by 25, fight is your best bet. Because if y'all roll over, that's the footage we're gonna last see of you guys. I wouldn't let that happen. I think you did a great job of fighting in game 4. And I think it made people feel differently about you. And I think that's what's gonna continue to be your best bet going forward, to keep people feeling good about you. As you start rolling over, we kind of expect that. You start making dumb mistakes, standing around in third quarters of this game, we kind of expect that. Fighting and putting forth more effort, laying it all on the line, and being careful. Balancing careful tonight. Careful not to over-exert past the defense of assignment, that kind of thing. If you go for an errant steal, that type of stuff hurts us against the Nuggets. It may not hurt you against the Mavericks or the Cavs, but it's going to hurt you against the Nuggets. We have enough evidence of this. We've seen it. So this is what I'm telling my team, man. I want to believe, just like I said at the end of the last video. I want to believe. I do not want to be in a mindset where I don't think this team can win or that I don't think these guys are that. I want to believe that they can become that. Salute the Kobe minute. I want to believe it. And it's up to them to not be satisfied with simply a game 4 victory that's snapped the streak. Because believe me, you may be comfortable with that, though I hope you're not. But the fans, Jeannie Buss, and everybody who's going to be paying attention to you, trying to pay you in free agency if you go somewhere else, it's not going to be at peace with you just simply being at peace with winning game 4, and that's good enough for your series. It's not. Not when your expectations are as high as it is. Not when you have LeBron James on this team and Anthony Davis on this team. Y'all should be believing y'all could do the impossible. With that duo, they should be of the mindset that they can win 3 straight games right now against this Denver Nuggets team and do what no one else has ever done, because that's who they are. That's who LeBron James and Anthony Davis level is. That's the level that they're on in this sport. Is we have the legacy of the greatest of the great. So we want to add this to our legacy so that we can have one up on the next great dude. And that's really what it's about for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Anthony's been playing so good, he deserves to have won all these damn games. And he's going to have to keep playing that way. Or people ain't going to really remember it like they should. And he deserves to be remembered for his good series that he's had. So give me 3 more of those, but particularly make sure you have the lead at the end of this game so that you have 2 more of those after that. I really want this series to get back to LA, man. I don't think I've wanted anything for the Lakers this bad since the bubble. And that's complete hot and cold from what I was at the end of beginning of game 4. I didn't care about game 4. I was checked out. I felt the team was checked out. Now I'm checked in, poised to be disappointed, severely disappointed, but optimistic that they can overcome that, just like they did with the in-season tournament. I didn't expect to go undefeated in the in-season tournament, but they managed to do that. And so I want to see this team do something special. I would love to be the team that came back from an 0-3 deficit, first team to ever do it. If it's the Lakers, that would just add to our Laker lore, would add to LeBron's legacy, would add to AD's legacy. It would go a long way in helping Darvin Ham feel confident that he can become a better coach or maybe get another job if he happens to get fired. I don't think they fire him if we overcome 0-3 deficit. He may save his job if that happens. And I won't be against it. If you do something no other coach has ever done, we'll give you another year. We may hate it, but we will give you another year. I won't be on board with firing anybody that comes back from a 0-3 deficit against the defending champions. Ain't no way. I'm not going to do it. Even if I have every reason to think that it makes sense, I'm going to give them that leeway. And I think Jeanie Buss most definitely will as well. We're a long way away from that. We've been in situations where we're up 3-1. We just knocked off the team, and that was it. They were going in 5. It's happened many times. So I'd imagine Denver is not even, they're laughing at me right now, and that's okay. That's okay. But at the end of the day, I know we're not just some rinky-dink 7th seed with a 1-3 deficit. We're a team that's been up by double-digit leads, and every single one of these games we've lost. So they better respect that, because that's the confidence I'm walking around this room with. So that's what I hope the Lakers walk around with tonight in Denver, man. Maybe your body doesn't react well to altitude, but you're going to have to stay fresh as possible, man. Hydrate, stretch, whatever you got to do to give us the best you can give us tonight. I really want our team to do the best they can, man. You can get real tired up there. I get that. Guys like Rui Hachimura, he hasn't responded well to altitude. I get it. But urgency is on the line. Your season's on the line. And how people are going to look at you in the offseason when it's time for you to either be paid or traded or waived or whatever the case may be, especially some of these one-year guys like Torian. Tonight really helps you get another job next season. It really helps you get a couple extra bucks next season. And we have some free agents. A guy like D'Angelo Russell, him having a great game tonight will go a long way, a very long way in helping him get the money he wants. So I hope it works out for our guys, man. I'm a Laker fan forever, regardless of what's going on. As you guys clearly see, I have a passion for this thing. And I'm on board with us winning Game 5. I believe we can win Game 5. I'm on board with overcoming this Denver team as it pertains to my confidence. And I hope that the Lakers are as well, as a unit. And I hope they don't hurt themselves tonight. I hope they don't give us a reason to be so angry with them at the end of this basketball game like they have many others. I really hope we end on a high note, man. And that's pretty much what I got to say, man. I think I've gotten enough talking out. And, man, it's been a long, rough season. Just wanted to end on a high note. BDL 44, I thank y'all for watching.